Hey dear, welcome back to my YouTube channel, Accounting Basics Academy, with your teacher Maureen. Here I'm going to talk about the trial balance. What you will learn. You will learn the two forms of trial balance, the relevance of the trial balance, how general ledger balances are balanced off, how the ledger balances are listed and appropriately placed as debits and credits in an initial trial balance. We don't often talk about the two forms of trial balance, but it's always about the initial trial balance. However, there are two forms of trial balance, the initial trial balance and the extended trial balance. After bringing down balances in the general ledger accounts, the next step is to summarize and arrange all the figures in what we call an initial trial balance. An initial trial balance is a list of all debit and credit balances brought down on the general ledger accounts, whereas the extended trial balance is used to ensure that all adjustments have been correctly made before the preparation of financial statements or what we call final accounts. The initial trial balance, that is my focus because this is a foundational lesson. So the initial trial balance has 4 columns. The first column lists all the account names from the general ledger. The next column to it lists all the general ledger balances extracted. Then followed by the column for the debit balances and the column for the credit balances. I'll show you in a minute. Continuing with the trial balance, the primary objective of the initial trial balance is to check the accuracy of the entries in the ledger accounts. The total of the debit balances should equal the total of the credit balances. Often it's not so. If the debit balances in the trial balance do not equal the credit, it shows that there has been an error in the double entry. Only the ledger accounts in the general ledger are relevant to prepare the trial balance. The trial balance is used internally in an organization within the accounts department. It is not a report that is shared outside of the business. The balances included in the trial balance can be used in the preparation of financial statements. The balances in the trial balance are the basis for drafting the financial statements. So here I'll first of all start by showing you how to balance off ledger accounts, and then we will take all the balances brought down from these accounts and then list them in a little initial trial balance. It may happen that it doesn't balance, but it's still fine. When it doesn't balance, it means there's an error in the accounts. Okay, so you begin to search for that error and then make adjustments. Sometimes you insert a suspense account so that the accountant can carry on preparing the financial statements while you find out where the error stems from. So here, this is an example. We're going to prepare, close these accounts. As we close these accounts, we will see, and then later on we will extract all the balances, closing balances, and place them in an initial trial balance. So let us go. So if I look at these two accounts, we have the purchase account. Purchases account is an expense account. Usually you should have a debit balance. So if I look at the accounts on the debit side, which is bank 350 and purchase ledger control 350, I have to balance this off at the end of a period of 1 week or 2 weeks, depending on how the business policy operates. So here I'll be closing this account by, if I notice here, I will put balance. This is balance CD. I'll total these two. It should give me 900 by the mere look of it. I placed 900 there, and then the closing of the account must be equal. The same row where you write the 900 on the left hand side, which is the debit side, should be the same row where you write the other. So it should be equal 900 there. So this balance CD, which I have placed on the credit side in order to balance the account, I will bring down here on the left hand side, which is the debit side of the purchase account. So I'll write balance brought down BD 900. This is 900, please. 900. So this becomes the closing balance of purchases account, which I will pick up later. Now the rent account, there is only one item there, whereby there is only one item. Sometimes you don't need to close it in the way we have closed the purchases account, because there are two items in the purchases account. But in this case, there is only one account. But then just to show you, sometimes it is also necessary to close it, just, for closing sake. So I will just, not to, not to make any mistakes. So I'll say balance CD 450. And then I'll close the 450 there. For lack of space, I'm using 2 rows there, if you notice. 450 here. So this balance carried down on the credit side, I'll bring it down because rent is also an expense account. I'll bring it down here. Balance BD 450. So this is the amount I'm going to be picking up for rent to list in the trial balance. Sales account is an income account. So if you notice on the credit side, you have the entries, cash and sales ledger control account, where the money, other entries, could have been made. So we have to now balance of this. So the balance CD in this case will be on the debit side. If I add the two, I should be having 1,500. So our balance of 1,500. This is it, 1,500 there, 1,500. So meaning on the credit side now, I'll have to bring, because this is always an income account, so I'll bring balance BD will be on this side of the account. So I go to the next slide. We have other ledger account as well. I'll do the same thing. Sales ledger control account, what we refer to as trade receivables, or SLCA for short. And then here there is always more than one entry in such account, but this is just to show you how it goes. So I will be closing this account. Balance CD here will be 850. I'll close the account again like I did before in the previous account, 850. And then I'll bring down, because this is debtors account, it's always a debit entry. So balance BD 850. Okay. Now the next one is a purchase ledger control account, creditors control account. Also always a credit and a credit balance, because these are creditors, for creditors, credit suppliers. So I have to, it's always a credit balance. So I have to close it on the, say, balance CD on the debit side, 550. Close it, 550, 550 there, and then bring down the balance on the credit side. Balance BD 550. Okay, so there are more accounts now, so let's finish off. Now bank account, you see 3 entries on the credit side and 1 entry on the debit side. So I will have to calculate, use the higher of the 2 columns, the higher of the 2 sides, and then use it as a closing balance. So it will be 10,000 there and 10,000 on the right hand side, which is the credit side. However, I will place their balance, after rates, balance CD. So I will do the calculation in my calculator and then get the difference between the 2 sides The difference between the two sides, as I can see, is 8,965. If I add all of those figures, 350 plus 450 plus 235 pounds plus 8,965, it should give me 10,000. So now on the debit side, I'll be bringing down this. Bank can be sometimes balance CD. That bank can sometimes, we can be both sides. We can have sometimes an overdraft whereby the balance CD will be on the left hand side, and then the balance BD will be on the right hand side. So this one now, there is money in the bank, so we bring down 8,965. For capital account, it's always a special kind of liability. The balance is always on the credit side, so we balance it off, balance CD on the debit side, and then 10,000, close off the account, and then close off the account and bring down the balance on the right hand side, meaning the credit side. Balance BD 10,000. Good. Now, as you can see, we have closed all the ledger accounts we have here. So now the next step is once you have finished closing off your ledger accounts, I'm referring here general ledger accounts, then because those are the relevant accounts that are important for the trial balance. So once you have closed off all the accounts in the general ledger, the next step is to extract all the balances, both the ones on the credit side and the ones on the debit side, and place them in the initial trial balance, which is what I am going to do right now. So if you notice here, the names of those accounts: purchases, rent, sales ledger control account, purchases ledger control account, bank and capital, I've already written. It may happen that it will not balance, but then if it doesn't balance, it doesn't matter. You have to find where the error is. But the main important thing for this video is to show you how to close off accounts in the general ledger, extract the figures, the balances, and list them in the initial trial balance. So now, I'll go back from the amounts I'm going to be extracting will be all of these ones, all of these. Yeah, so I'll be taking 900, 450. So I'll list them here first. Here, 900, 850, 850, 550. So the next will be 8,965 and 10,000. 8,965, 8,965, and then 10,000. So now you have listed all the both the debit balances and the credit balances. The next thing to do is to place them under the debit and credit, remembering the only account I will want you to be very, very careful with is the bank account, because sometimes you will have bank overdraft, or sometimes you have money in the bank. But in this case, we have money in the bank, so it's going to be a debit. So now let us do that. So 900 goes on the debit side of purchases account. 450 comes on the debit side of this the trial balance. And then sales is always a credit balance. You place it on the credit side, the 1,500 on the credit side. Sales ledger control account is always a debit balance. Is debtors, so a current asset, so it's a debit balance. Purchase ledger is a liability. It's always on the credit side, so it's 550 there. 550. 550. Let me just write it properly. 550. And then bank is 8,000, properly placed, 65, 8,965. And then capital is always a credit balance, so you place it on the credit side. So if you add all of these, It might happen, it will not balance, but what is most important is that you know how to, correctly place the items where they should be. So you can add it up, but then I think I've done this before, so it will not balance. But the main thing I want to show you is how to list the items from the general ledger and also place them where they should be. So there is another example, a full example from general ledger accounts listed and the initial trial balance. So below is a list of balances to be transferred to the trial balance as at 31st March. So the instruction is to place the figures in the debit or credit column as appropriate and total each column on the next slide. So I'm going to go to the next slide, then we will do that, and then so that will let us do this. Very important that if you already mastered what should go, what is an asset. Like you can see some assets, some expenses here. Expense assets, they all go to the debit side. Items that go to the credit side, income, loans, capital, sales, income accounts and all of that, liability accounts. So now here I'm going to be placing 210,000, 20500. Then all these should go, all these are to the debit side, all of these debit side. If I begin to write all of the figures, I'm gonna just like point figures. Plant and equipment goes to the debit side, motor vehicles to the debit side, inventory debit side, bank is debit balance is also debit side, petty cash control debit side, sales ledger control account trade receivable goes to the debit side, purchases ledger goes to the credit side, VAT owing to HMRC liability goes to the credit side, loan from bank goes to the credit side, capital goes to the credit side, sales goes to the credit side, sales returns comes to the debit side, purchases goes to the debit side, and then purchasing returns goes to the credit side, wages comes to the debit side, motor expenses comes to the debit side, office expenses comes to the debit side, rates comes to the debit side, advertising comes to the debit side, telephone comes to the debit side, repairs and maintenance is to the debit side, and sundry expenses to the debit side. All of these that I've indicated, if you calculate all of that and then calculate all that we have entered on the credit side, it should equal. So you should be having about 980,254. So on both sides, meaning it should equal 980,254. So this is how you record in the initial trial balance. Now, like I said earlier, or if you have been following this channel, the topic, all of this has been, comprehensively, taught in a course I have on Udemy, where I have gone deeper with practice exercises and real examples. Look, I want you to subscribe to this channel, hit the notification bell so that whenever I drop a video, you will be notified on the video that I have dropped. Subscribe to this channel. I really cannot overemphasize it. Also, you can join other students if this is really what the path you're taking in your career. Join other students and then follow this course on Udemy, how to do bookkeeping for beginners, theory and practical with a referral code. This referral code is very important so that it can take you exactly through to the course. Thank you for listening. Thank you.